Hey, it's me, Big P, and I wanted to do an update video on the progress of the rolling Magma Inquisitor. It's going strong, way surpassing my expectations for the build. I've not swapped into another skill, and I've killed both of the new bosses while I was learning their mechanics. I've done basically the entire Atlas. Right now I'm just working on the invitations, all the ones you've seen here. I need to do Cyrus, some of the other ones, but all in all, the build has felt pretty fantastic since I swapped to Martyr of Innocence. Basically, it's opened up a lot of new potential for the build, both offensively and defensively. I'll get into more of the details on that because there's been a couple of new things we've had to go into. This is what the tree looks like. We are no longer Eldritch Battery, which means that we've had to do some mana regen shenanigans, but we'll get into all that after I kill BARAN, the last one I'm going to set up for the Elder Slayer's fight, which I'm probably going to start my stream today with, I think. A little scary because of the 11 minus max res, but I actually think our regen is going to be fine. We've pretty safely gotten to level 93, which is kind of crazy. Because normally, what'll happen is I'll get my build to about, whatchamacallit, level 90, and then I'll stop being afraid of the higher level content, and I'll start doing it. These are the only things I'm really afraid of, are like these, when they do bleeds, and chaos damage is actually a bit of a problem for our build because we are now low life. Actually, let me swap off the reservation so that you can see perfectly. I was doing that so I could kind of see the mana regen breakpoints. I'll swap back on when we go into that so you can see what we're talking about. Basically, I wanted to have full uptime on casting without, once we swapped off Eldritch Battery, we did have to balance mana regen for our slightly over 2 casts per second. Not anything insane in terms of cast speed. And I'm not using Spell Echo for reasons I think I went over last video, but I'll say it again. Spell Echo works like how old multi-strike used to work, where it locks you in for the duration of the repeat. And after I learned how to use new multi-strike and started to like that, I realized I don't really like Spell Echo, so we stopped doing that. Look at that Harvey in the corner. We are self-casting both our Tornado and Frost Shield, just because for setup on bosses and just areas like this, it's more consistent. I think if you want, if you're lazy, you could keep it at a lower level, but the cast when damage taken Frost Shield, not only will it end up being a bit sloppy mechanically because it might proc in a weird spot that you actually don't want to go in, but it provides a decent chunk, only 0.37 spell crit, but it actually helps us get to 100% spell crit conditionally, I think, with our power charges that we get on block. Speaking of block, we have 53, I say conditional, I think it's 48, 47, and then you get 5 attack block if you've dealt a crit strike recently, and that's true block, that's not glancing blows. You could go get glancing blows for a number of reasons. Oops, I wasn't supposed to level that, but that's okay, it's just a clarity gem. That's in my arrogance support section that's keeping me low life, because once you go low life, you can really boost the damage. I believe I just saw myself on the PoE Ninja ladder. We're sitting over a cool... Are we like... Yeah, see? I mean, the build is really just pure regen. I mean, even with 65 lightning rods, you can just stand on a BARAN square at a tier 14 level. Pretty impressive, I think. And it's got very kind of readable... I probably should do some Archnemesis, but I'm kind of saving them. Oh, see, that could be a little bit tricky, but like, look, let's just stand on this a bit. You have the 2%, and it's also draining your mana, so that's not fun. We'll go over the skill gem changes and links and why you might actually not want to swap off Eldritch Battery. However, not going Eldritch Battery means you actually get to use all that ES that you have. I don't even have the Gravicious craft of gain life as extra ES, but the build is still feeling pretty tanky, even as I run red tier map content. Oh god, I hope she doesn't eat up all the Harbinger mobs I'm about to kill. So yeah, the only real thing that I'm scared of is chaos damage stuff, so... Okay, she's gone. I like the song that they have. Please. We got the BARAN music cranked? God, haven't heard that in too long. Alright, young man. It's Maven. They're pretty tricky when they're Maven. Here's a tip. Don't do Veritania with gain ES or gain life as ES, because every time she like does her swoop, she will regain like 40% of her max life as ES. Ooh, I did that sloppy. That's pretty bad actually. Is he gonna off-screen me? Come on over, man. I mean, luckily we're a projectile build, so we can kind of off-screen ourselves. But, yeah. Let's do it over here, man. You good? I'm like, I wanted to, you know, I'm less than, okay, I was going to say I want to tank a bit, but he's already dead. I'm not sure if the POB DPS, like, counts, like, one landing of that. I'm not, like, so we might be functionally, like, around 2 million DPS if your AoE is good enough and it bounces on them like that. But yeah, that's what's the build's looking at right now. Oh, did I not drop the Elder Slayers? Damn, I'm gonna have to buy that. I'm actually pretty broke because I've been buying up well, I bought what, the Twisted. You can just barely see, you can see that, right? That's I did the Twisted. Okay, that's the easy one. And we'll do, I did Elder, did like Minotaur. I did all the Shaper Guardians or whatever. Not all the Shaper Guardians, but to get my favorite map slots, and they're my 2 Watchstones from beating the quest versions, which apparently are much, much easier than these versions, so we're going to try on them. But yeah, let's go over the gear. Let's go over the gear first, because I've made some pretty good upgrades. Let's talk about the first biggest one that you should aim for. How much is this right now? Because I bought mine for 45 chaos because it was a decent roll. These are now sitting around 15 chaos, I'd say. And it's pretty huge for the build, if not just in terms of flat damage for your spell. Gives roughly 450 to 500 flat damage to your rolling magma, which is then translated to what, like almost like 1500 on the top end there. I should get a 2020 gem, but yeah, Martyr of Innocence as a staff that does a couple of funky things for us. The damage penetrates and immune to freeze and chill while ignited aren't amazing. I mean, maybe immune to freeze and chill while ignited or like doing something. And damage penetrates 15 if you have blocked recently. I have pretty solid block here, like I said, 48 attack, 47 spell, which is much better than I thought we'd get, especially because it's actual block. It's not glancing blows. We did have to fill out this entire nodes, all these nodes here, but I'll get into that when we talk about mana, because that was an issue we had to solve in some way. What is this? Oh, that's Baron's Crest. The level 15 Vengeance skill has given me an opportunity for a little bit of utility that we didn't have before, namely with our mark being Assassin's Mark, which is pretty good. Ooh, I really should get that one to get power charge on hit. I should quality that. And then mark on hit. These are the only green gems we're using in the build. I'm not using slower proj anymore, because once you get this staff, you have enough damage to not really need to use it. So I kind of just went, you know, just full, what are we doing now? Pinpoint, intensify, crit damage, crit strikes, and inspiration. I think you can switch out pinpoint for immolate, or maybe even faster casting when you do single target stuff. Spell Echo if you really want it. You know, it is flexible. Last one's Inspiration there because we are casting. And let's actually swap back to that UI, hiding the mana reservation level, so you can see. Oh no, well, let's actually reserve our mana too. We're using 7 auras now because we're low life. So basically, I'm at 109 mana regen per second. This is actually slightly better than it should be. We're reserving slightly over. It's a little too much. You kind of have to balance your life levels once you have, well, in my arrogance setup, I have Clarity, Herald of Ash, and Vitality. But let me finish going over the gear before we get into stuff like that. Just know that if you do swap off Eldritch Battery, which you probably should. I mean, I leveled with it all the way up to 90, and then I swapped, and I had a bunch of mana issues that I was trying to solve in a number of ways, with even things like putting like Mana Leech in the Vengeance that's on Martyr of Innocence, which kind of worked, but it's like you don't want to be like waiting to block to recover your mana. It kind of helped it shoot back up. But we actually don't have that much unreserved. We only have 73, and you want to make sure you have enough unreserved so you can proc your mark, which is 52, which is like kind of like, doesn't go up. Do we have enough mana? I'm still working on stuff like that. Molten Shell has 22. You know, in a vacuum, recovering this much mana, I mean, maybe I should keep it like this just so that I can proc those things more consistently. And then you do proc Arcane Surge, which brings your mana regen up to 130 per second. I also have that on the Golem, just in case, like, you don't want to waste a dash on a setup or whatever. And yeah, Petrified Blood, Inquisitor, particularly with Pious Path, especially with this much block, is really good with Petrified Blood. We have just over 1,000 ES, so we can, you know, when you're taking those little hits in maps that normally add up on a character that doesn't have really good regen or potential block, you pretty much just shoots right back up. And you kind of have to pay attention to when stuff is like really cutting into your life pool. That's when you maybe want to pop a flask and start moving again. But basically, it's really helpful to have a tanky character for something that you need for cast. Basically, it takes a little under 2 seconds to get to the max intensify stacks and therefore max DPS. So yeah, the staff was able to do a lot for us there. What are some other upgrades? We're still using Death Rush because Death Rush is pretty good. Just Onslaught on kill and Chaos Res, like I said before, I think we're at 18 Chaos Res right now, 16 Chaos Res with this. Could bless it up, but like, I don't know. I think I'm gonna try and get a better ring of some kind. And then get Onslaught somewhere else. Probably get it on a flask, maybe. And I did buy the Rolling Magma Area of Effect over damage because I wasn't really wanting for damage. What is this? 85 Hubris Circlet that I threw an Essence at, and I rolled Tier 1 Chaos Res. I said that's good enough for me. But something worth noting is the life regeneration rate, which I have 8 of here, and 21% of here, is amazing for your both energy shield and life regen. You could regen more than your entire ES pool in a second. So when it does, in less than a second, so when it goes down from a hit, it pretty much shoots right back up. Basically, Inquisitor's tanking this is, you know, just based all around that, you know, just mitigating a decent, but we don't have amazing armor. When with our Assault Flask up, it goes up to 15k, which isn't amazing. We're running Determination. Luckily, you can go for both, because of the colors on the jewels, you can go for ES and armor bases, which are both help for defensively. Did I make this? I've been looking for like cool, like implicit. I just like was crafting. Well, these dropped as 30 move speed, and these were similar to the boots I was using before, which were these. You know, shitty life roll, 30 move speed, some res, but the big one was 21. That is a literal perfect tier 1 life regeneration rate. Kind of insane. Definitely worth it to craft around. Hybrid life, of course, so, I mean, we could maybe slam life with an Exile or something. I don't know, I'm not really going to do that. And a pretty bad flat regen, but it's more than enough. Can I take this off and show you? I mean, our Determination will be loose. So the 21% brings us our 1400 regen. It's like almost what, like 200 something? Like, it's kind of crazy how much regen it gives us. And yeah, honestly, the crafted one here kind of pales in comparison to that, but this is an open suffix for if I want to maybe get some more resistance somewhere else. We're still +1 max res, and I'm looking to get +1 max res on the this thing here, which I haven't really finished crafting, although the Essence Life and the Tier 1 Armor and ES, as well as Tier 1 Regen, kind of really nice. Also, additional physical damage reduction helps us as well. Just because you see, if we're not running Determination, we drop to a paltry less than 2k armor, so the Determination is actually kind of huge. I don't really talk about the implicits. They're not really important on our gear right now. I'm just kind of, there's kind of a fun thing. You get to throw the cherries and berries on top and see. Reduced effective shock is nice. We are using a little stone golem that gives us, that's not stone golem. Where's stone golem? He too gives us about like 100 something regen, so shouts to him. He also pulls aggro for like the Archnemesis mobs and stuff like that, which can buy you the second or two you need to get another cast off to get that kill. We crafted these, giving me a bit of dex and life and resistance. That's about it. I mean, you could very easily, I don't know about you guys, I'm loving Essence League. They're a little scary, kind of scarier than the Archnemesis fights sometimes, especially when they're doubled. But you can just buy a solid base off trade or just find yourself a base, and yeah, it's pretty easy to craft yourself some nasty gear like this stuff. Just huge life rolls, which will be important if you're going to start using low life and scaling damage that way. I bought this Circle of Anguish. I'm not really sure why. It's not that good. The implicits aren't amazing. I guess the dex is helping with my green gems, but like the build isn't like living or dying on the green gems. Like, yes, a lower level precision would be less crit, but like, I don't know. It's not that important. And did I craft this? I think I harvest crafted this, or maybe it was this essence as well. No, I think I harvest crafted this. And I got Tier 1 lightning res, Tier 1 cast speed, Tier 1 spell damage, and I'm just like, you know what? This is perfectly fine for now. I threw the attribute modifiers on it before it to make the implicit both strength and dex, which will bring up our crit and then also help with our gems. And then I just crafted life, and that's it. But I did find a +1 gems somewhere that I want to, whatever. But yeah, a +1 gems amulet would obviously better for obvious reasons. It would kick the rolling magma up to a new level. I'm going to try and find, if I don't vol a level 21 on this one myself when I get there, I'm just going to buy one. I don't think rolling magma is like the new hit skill or whatever, you know. You should be able to find one relatively cheap, hopefully. But yeah, what else? The belt is just life and good regen with resistances, you know, nothing insane. And my jewels, I think the only jewels I'm using are the cluster jewels here, and the we are still using a Conqueror's efficiency. But you know, mana and reservation and cost and stuff like that, I can't say specifically exactly what they should be at because you're going to have to adjust that for your gear. But I got Smoking Remains, which is chance to create a smoke cloud on kill, which blinds enemies, which is kind of really helpful and nice in maps. You'll basically always get at least one in per pack to help you. And then I have Prismatic Heart for some elemental damage. The small ones give cast speed, fire damage, and fire res. You can do much better than this, and I might drop out of some of the more defensive nodes I've gone into here to get a, whatchamacallit, projectile medium cluster or two. The tree is stretched pretty tight, though. I mean, you do need to get over into the life reservation efficiency of skills area here if you want to go low life, I think. You could also maybe go up into this one to help solve mana issues, but that's a couple more points than I'm really interested in. I ended up going into here once mana became a thing, as well as going into Righteous Decree. And then the big one really is Mystic Bulwark for chance to block spell damage, and then also mana regen per chance to block spell damage. But I gotta be honest, the biggest thing was, it's really all clarity. Clarity more or less at this point doubles the mana regen, and if we weren't running it, the mana runs out quite quickly, and then my 1 million DPS is not 1 million DPS. It's probably a little bit lower. Even with the Arcane Surge up, yeah, you got to find your level of clarity. Tornado has been kind of cool as a setup. If you haven't used it before, it just I'm not sure exactly how it works, because like Magma Orb's kind of a weird projectile. I mean, I guess every time it lands, that counts as a collision, because it specifically says your projectiles can collide with it to deal damage as though it was an enemy, and then will chase down enemies and reflect a portion of the damage it took. So it basically is just a little bit more damage that you're doing. Fine for a setup. Doesn't last that long though. The secondary duration is 4 seconds. It helps like clear up stragglers and stuff. Not that you really need help with the clear between Pinpoint and Herald of Ash, and the little bit of area scaling that you get. It's pretty great. I guess I should go over the staff nodes, which are really fucking choice. Like 20% chance to gain a power charge on block. I actually had, if I get a blue node again, I might get power charge on crit on the Vengeance skill here, and then also it would also be linked to the Tornado. I think you could double dip. There's a lot of weird like utility you can throw into Vengeance if you like Culling Strike, for example, might be way better than Mark on Hit, Assassin's Mark. Although I gotta say, I like Mark. I'm glad we have Mark on Hit now, because I haven't really tried self-casting our marks a lot. It's terrible, even with like the fact that Archnemesis like stands still and then lets you target it. Like you know, it's basically best case scenario for targeting a rare with your mark. It's still terrible. You'll miss all the time. It just won't work. And as inconsistent as this feels, it is slightly more consistent, and is actually up on a lot of bosses more than you'd think. And yeah, the counterweight is just global crit and crit multi. And then we have Serpent Stance here, which is just a bunch of block attack. Oh, I wanted to mention, this is like kind of a good divine sync. Not a really amazing, but trying to get, I would probably get, try and get 16 chance to block. And then the flat damage also rolls, but it's not like a huge variance. Obviously, you want it to be higher. Mine could get a little higher. But it's kind of a little consistent pocket here, but whatever. Either way, yeah, 100% increased fire damage. I'm not using the flame wall anymore. If you want to, maybe you can put it in a cast on crit setup here with another bit of utility. That's just feeling a little bit more like magical Christmas land. And I did go into here for 20 dex and attack and cast speed. There's actually 10 here. Don't know how I missed that on my initial go through, because that's pretty good. Drop the area here because, I mean, once we got the area here, I guess you don't really need it. Area does help you with that double dip for damage, though. You know, it really is pretty at the max. You know, you see those overlaps. If the boss is big enough, you can get 3. Let's see if we can do it. Rolling Magma is kind of interesting. It like keeps. Like if you do it closer, it'll start shooting further, probably to prevent people from like super duper shotgunning and then just making this like the best skill ever. But like even if you go like a little bit further out, they still keep it like a pretty tight. You know, they like lose if you go too far, they lose distance, and then it gains distance if you go too short. It kind of keeps the distance consistent, no matter where you cast it. What else? Yeah, 10% reduced mana cost of skills. Mana is going to be an issue if and when you drop out of Eldritch Battery. I would not blame you for not doing so. You do lose a lot of tankiness. Maybe pick up a Devouring Diadem. Although those are pretty expensive. I think they're around 3x last I checked. Maybe they're down to 2 or 1 by now. But, you know, you're next to it anyway, and an Inquisitor can get away with it. I would not blame you for leveling with it all the way through to 90 plus. That's what I did, and I loved it. And if you'll allow me to go on a bit of an inevitable judgment rant right now, people have been telling me this is like kind of a mid, let's get my head out the way. This is not as good as you think it is. It's like whatever, you know, you can get, you get more damage if you go into negative resistance with your Wave of Conviction and with Combustion, and then also you're in the Elemental Wheel that gives -5 extra, or no, -18 at least, and then like there's Fire Res that can also an extra fire, yada yada yada. For this league, at least right now, the league mechanic, if you get Flame Weaver or probably a number of other, I haven't really looked at the spreadsheet of what each of the Archnemesis things give you, but like I know that at least Flame Weaver and maybe others give elemental resistances, which I'll ignore. It's really, you know, it enables your build to just do the full amount of damage consistently as long as you're critting. Crit is slightly low, 62 base with nothing up. I think when you stand in this, it brings it up to pretty decent 75, then 87 with the flask, although that's counting my quartz flask as well, keep that in mind. And then, you know, obviously you want to get to 100% crit, get a bottled faith or whatever the hell else they need to do. I haven't leveled this yet all the way, but yeah, critting is important. And then beyond that, for the expansion, which is staying, the shrines that pop up for the Eater of Worlds and Syrian Exarch stuff can give 50 res, like just straight up, like either the boss gains like 50 elemental resistance, which I'm sure is affecting a number of builds, not affecting my build whatsoever, because we're ignoring that when we crit. So it's pretty solid, I gotta say. I think it's at the best place it's been in a long time. I haven't looked at like the data for Syrian Exarch. I'm assuming Syrian Exarch, he's a fire dude. He has fireballs. He's probably got at least what, like 40, 50, maybe up to 70 something chaos fire resistance. So yeah, pretty nice to deal with that. And just a super lazy way. Like people are like, oh yeah, if you get this, oh yeah, I self-cast my Wave of Conviction and my Arcanist brand, and then also with my flammability when that goes off. That's too much. You're waiting for too much. I'm just ignoring every bit of resistance they have when I crit, which is pretty consistent, and we're scaling that damage anyway. Might as well. Last notes on the build, I guess, would be you know, spell block notes are like doing double duty here, and recover ES when you block spell. I mean, that's not really anything. That is, you could probably take that off the build and I would not notice, because we're regenerating ridiculous amounts of ES per second. And yeah, this I like Anointed Flesh a lot, just for general ailment reduction. Kind of helps you, you know, those oh shit moments where you, the big things that we don't deal with well are degens. I get scared when I don't see my ES pool because I'm reserving half my life. And then Chaos Res just goes straight through it. So that's even more like, oh my God, what the fuck? We just randomly die sometimes to it. Even with the, you know, we're not negative Chaos Res. We could go into full Asylum to get reduced curse effect and stuff. Maybe we can go out of here, but then like we're losing a bit of life and life regen. I don't know. Maybe if the damage feels good enough, we can drop, I don't know, the tree's pretty tight right now. If we get another point and then slightly better gear, maybe we can drop out. Actually, maybe we'll drop the one node here and get another point or two there. I did take Vitality has mana reservation efficiency here, but I'm not sure if I need to. This is just to make sure that I was under low life so that I constantly am triggering the pain attunement. And yeah, besides that, I mean, I think this will be a pretty comprehensive sort of guide as it stands, but I think I am going to use this as a baseline to maybe practice like editing videos. I do have footage of, I streamed for like 4, 5, 6 hours the past couple days, and I'm going to do maybe a little bit of a short stream today where I guess make enough money to buy the Elder Slayer's invitation and then do that. My Atlas, but yeah, I'm just now, I didn't really think I'd get this far this quickly, but I'm just trying to get the little bit of juice out of the Atlas. I went fully into Breach, have every single Breach node fully full that up, and my build like isn't that good at clearing it. I thought it'd be much better. Maybe it's, I don't know, maybe my expectations are a little bit skewed because I was running Breach a lot last league in Scourge with my Magic Finder, which is probably the next build that I'm about to roll once I get enough cash for that. But yeah, otherwise, even if not, I have 16 refund points, and then are these still 2 chaos? I mean, they're dropping pretty significant. Yeah, they're 2 chaos each, so there is flexibility for whatever you want to try, whatever you want to do. Good league to play, no matter what level you're at. I mean, the Atlas felt good even at the very early levels, and now it's insane. It's really scary, actually, at some points, what happens. And I don't want to go over this. This video is very long anyway, but there'll be timestamps and stuff so if you need to refer to stuff and go back. And I'll link the current setup in a POB. It's also on the PoE Ninja ladder. And yeah, I guess I'm going to start a stream. Maybe I'll go eat some lunch and then we'll do a stream. But overall, I'm very happy. I guess I didn't mention Blade Vortex once, but I should. Because this might not be rolling Magma being a super strong skill. This might just be more Inquisitor being in a great spot right now and just being able to take advantage of staff nodes, which are not, you know, all over the tree. You know, they're pretty few and far between. We're taking the good ones as far as I'm concerned. These are the attack ones really more. Oh no, this is attack and cast speed and area of effect per power charge, which would be nice. Oh, and I am anointing the Divine Judgment here just because it's a nice cheap one. I bought a black. You should have like the teal and sepia just from like mapping. And then the black one you can buy for like 4 or 5 chaos. Yeah, Steelwood Stance is another attack one. Where's Ophidian Aims in that one? Whatever, either way, the Inquisitor is basically one of the few ascendancies that can do this without stretching the tree crazy, because you're going to go through Devotion anyway, and then you're right next to Counterweight. A lot of people are using Divine Shield, which I feel like is not necessary on Inquisitor at all. I'm not sure how much physical damage I'm mitigating, but regenerated ES per second, our regen per second is like 1400. Like, there's no reason to do that, in my opinion, but either way, let me know if you think I've missed anything, what I can go into a cluster jewel, further upgrades beyond that, because as far as I'm concerned, this is a pretty successful starter, one of the more successful starters I've done, honestly, considering that, you know, self-cast was just buffed in a pretty significant way, and even with that expectation, kind of exceeded it. We'll see how much further I push the build. I probably will leave it as is because it's just, you know, maybe I'm a little sentimental about stuff like League starters being cool. And then, yeah, we'll just continue grinding, blasting. I guess I have to get the 38 challenges this league if I want to get the prismatic character effect. So I think I better do my stretches and get some coffee in me if we're going to get stuff like that done in a timely fashion before Elden Ring comes out. Thank you for watching this long video. The full guide probably won't be up for ages, if ever, so please refer to this, ask a question in the comments here, or check it out on Twitch if you have anything that you want to mention or ask me directly. Thanks for watching, like and sub, and I will see you in the next video.